If you look down at your feet right now, as you're watching this, and pressed your finger gently into the skin just above your ankle, held it there for 5 seconds, and then let go, what did you see? If there's a small dent left behind, a little indent in your skin that takes more than 10 seconds to bounce back, I want you to stay exactly where you are. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the first step of an 8-minute drainage habit that has helped people over 60 reduce that exact kind of swelling, sometimes within the first week. But more importantly, I'm going to explain why that dent is there in the first place. Because almost everyone gets the answer wrong. They think it's the heart. They call their doctor, get a diuretic, reduce the salt, drink more water, elevate the feet on the couch every evening, and the swelling keeps coming back every single day. And I'm going to show you exactly why that happens and what you can start doing tonight instead. My name is Sarah, and I'm a physician. And here's the first thing you can do right now, even before I explain the science behind it. While you're sitting there watching, try this. Lift your heels off the floor. Just the heels. Keep the balls of your feet on the ground. Now lower them slowly. Do that 10 times. Slowly, deliberately. What you just did is activate the calf pump, the muscular mechanism responsible for pushing fluid and lymphatic drainage upward against gravity. The calf muscles are essentially the second heart of your lower body, and most people over 60 are sitting for hours each day with that second heart completely switched off. That 10-second movement just woke it up. Keep that in mind as I explain the full picture, because everything I'm about to tell you connects directly back to that simple action. Now let me explain why what's happening in your legs is almost certainly not what you've been told. Your body has 2 separate fluid circulation systems. The first one most people know, the cardiovascular system, driven by the heart, pumping blood through arteries and veins. That system has a motor. The second system, the lymphatic system, has no motor at all. It is entirely passive. It depends on muscular movement, on breathing, on the rhythmic compression of your tissues to push fluid back toward the center of the body. And what does that system do? It collects the excess fluid that leaks out of your blood vessels into the surrounding tissues, the fluid that pools in your ankles and calves every single day, and it moves it back into circulation. When that second system slows down, the fluid stays exactly where it lands. It accumulates. And you see it as swelling, not as a heart problem, not as a kidney problem, as a drainage problem. And treating a drainage problem with a heart medication is like trying to unclog a drain with a blood pressure pill. It addresses the wrong system entirely. Before I go any further, I need to be clear about something important. Some forms of ankle swelling are medical emergencies, and this video is not for those situations. If your swelling came on suddenly, if it is only in one leg, if you have chest pain or difficulty breathing alongside the swelling, or if you feel deep pain in the calf that worsens when you flex your foot, please stop watching and call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Those situations can involve blood clots, heart failure, or acute kidney disease. This video is specifically for people with what medicine calls bilateral dependent edema, the kind that builds gradually over the course of a day, is worse in both legs by evening, and partially improves after lying flat overnight. If that's a description of your daily experience, you are exactly who I made this for. Let me show you the next piece of the drainage habit right now. While your legs are still somewhat elevated from sitting, I want you to do 10 slow ankle circles in each direction. Feet lifted slightly off the ground, rotating the ankle, clockwise 10 times, then counterclockwise 10 times. This is not just movement for its own sake. What you are doing is mechanically stimulating the lymphatic vessels in the lower leg, which have no pump of their own and rely entirely on this kind of rhythmic motion to move fluid upward. I want you to notice something. Your ankles may feel slightly different after that. Maybe a little lighter. Maybe a faint warmth. That's real. That's your lymphatic system responding. Now imagine doing a structured, intentional version of that, combined with specific breathing and light manual drainage technique every evening before sleep. That is what the full 8-minute protocol looks like, and I'm going to walk you through every step before this video ends. Stay with me. Here's something that most people don't understand about why this gets worse after 60. It isn't just one thing. It's a combination of changes happening simultaneously in the body. First, the small valves inside your leg veins, tiny one-way gates that prevent blood from falling back down under gravity, become less efficient over time. They don't close as tightly as they used to. This means blood pools slightly in the lower legs, with less resistance than it once did. Second, muscle mass decreases with age. And since the calf muscles are what physically compress and move lymphatic and venous fluid upward with every step and every contraction, less muscle means less pumping force. Third, overall daily movement tends to decrease. Longer periods of sitting, fewer steps, less spontaneous activity, which compounds both problems. And fourth, the lymphatic vessels themselves lose some of their own rhythmic contraction capacity with age. These 4 things together create a perfect environment for fluid to accumulate. And here's the critical point. None of these changes are addressed by a diuretic. A diuretic reduces your total fluid volume through the kidneys. It does not restore the pumping capacity of your calves. It does not improve your lymphatic drainage. It does not strengthen your venous valves. So you take it, you urinate more, your blood volume drops slightly, and by mid-afternoon, your ankles are swollen again, because the underlying drainage failure was never addressed. Subscribe to this channel right now if you haven't already, and hit that like button before you keep watching. This is exactly the kind of content I bring every single week. Medically grounded, clearly explained, actually useful. And I want to ask you something in the comments. Drop your age and tell me where you're watching from. Whether you're 64 in California, 71 in Georgia, or 68 in Ohio, I read every comment, and knowing who's in this community helps me create content that speaks directly to what you're going through. Your comment genuinely matters. Now I want to tell you about a patient I'll call Margaret. She's in her early 70s, retired, heart in excellent condition, kidneys functioning perfectly, labs all normal. She had been dealing with progressive ankle swelling for 2 years. She had tried everything she was told to try, reduced sodium intake significantly, elevated her legs every evening, took a diuretic when it got bad, and it helped sometimes, a little temporarily, but the swelling always came back. By early evening, her ankles were always full again. Her skin felt stretched too tight. She had stopped wearing her favorite shoes. She avoided going out after 5 in the afternoon because her legs felt too heavy and uncomfortable. What we discovered when I spent time asking her about her daily habits was very specific. She was sitting for the majority of the day, often 4 to 6 hours at a stretch without meaningful movement. She was sleeping with flat pillows under her ankles that provided almost no real elevation. She was mildly dehydrated most of the time because she had been told to limit fluids and had overcorrected, and she had been doing 0 deliberate calf movement throughout the day. Every one of those things was directly feeding the drainage problem. Let me give you the 3rd piece of the drainage habit right now, because I want you to feel how much of this you can actually start doing today. This one is about breathing. Place one hand flat on your belly. Now breathe in slowly through your nose, not into your chest, but down into your belly. And let your hand rise. Hold for 2 seconds. Then breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 6, letting the belly fall. Do that just 3 times right now. What you are activating is diaphragmatic breathing, and it is one of the most underutilized tools for lymphatic drainage that exists. The diaphragm, when it moves fully with each breath, creates a pressure gradient inside the thoracic cavity that literally pulls lymphatic fluid upward toward the central drainage ducts near your collarbone. Every deep belly breath you take is a pump for your lymphatic system. Most people, especially when sitting for long periods, breathe shallowly into the chest, completely bypassing this mechanism. 3 deep belly breaths just now moved more lymphatic fluid than the previous 30 minutes of shallow breathing likely did. Now I want to talk about the things that silently make this worse every day, because there are several habits that are working directly against your body's drainage capacity. And most people have no idea. The first is prolonged, uninterrupted sitting. When you sit for more than 40 to 45 minutes without moving, the calf muscles go completely dormant. There is no pump. Fluid pools in the lower legs continuously, with nothing to counter gravity. The longer the sitting period, the more fluid accumulates. After 90 minutes of uninterrupted sitting, a meaningful amount of fluid has settled into the ankle tissues and begun to create the kind of congestion that takes hours to drain afterward. The solution is not to stand all day. It is to interrupt sitting with short movement breaks. Even 30 seconds of calf raises or a short walk every 45 minutes is enough to restart the pump and prevent pooling. The second hidden enemy is sodium, but not just the salt shaker. The real problem is hidden sodium in processed and packaged foods. Canned soups, deli meats, bread, condiments, frozen meals, restaurant food. Sodium causes the body to retain water systemically, and when lymphatic drainage is already compromised, that retained water gravitates toward the tissues of the lower legs and ankles. Reducing processed food, not just table salt, makes a meaningful difference. The third enemy, which surprises most people, is dehydration. When you don't drink enough water, your body responds by holding onto fluid in the tissues more tightly, because the lymphatic fluid itself becomes more viscous and harder to move. 6 to 8 cups of water distributed throughout the day, not all at once, keeps lymphatic fluid thin, mobile, and responsive to the drainage habits I'm describing. I want to pause here for a moment and be honest with you about something. Everything I'm sharing in this video, the calf activation, the ankle circles, the diaphragmatic breathing, the movement breaks, the hydration, all of it is real, proven, and genuinely helpful. But I see patients every week who do all of these things faithfully and still struggle to get ahead of the swelling because the tissue environment itself has become part of the problem. When lymphatic congestion has been present for months or years, when low-grade inflammation has had time to settle into the vessel walls and surrounding tissue, daily habits alone sometimes cannot reach deep enough to turn things around fully. That's not failure. That's biology. For exactly those situations, I point people to the first link in the description below. It is a natural method specifically developed to support circulation and lymphatic drainage from within, at the tissue level that movement and habits alone cannot always access. If you've been dealing with this for more than a few months, if you've tried the basics and haven't gotten the relief you needed, please don't wait. Inflammation in the lymphatic tissues compounds over time. The window to address this before it becomes significantly harder to reverse is not unlimited. The first link in the description. Check it below. Now let me walk you through what the full 8-minute evening protocol looks like, because I've been building to this and I want to give you the complete picture. Think of it in 3 parts: the preparation, the drainage sequence, and the technique that ties it all together. The preparation begins in the morning, before you get out of bed, while you're still lying flat, which is the best position for lymphatic return because gravity is not working against you. Pump your ankles up and down 20 times, toes up toward the shins, then pointed downward, full range of motion. Then 10 slow ankle circles in each direction. Then, when you stand, do 20 slow calf raises before you take your first step. This takes about 2 minutes and primes the calf pump for the day from a gravity-neutral position when the drainage system can move the most fluid with the least effort. Throughout the day, the goal is simple. Do not let the calf pump go dormant for more than 45 minutes at a time. Set a quiet timer if you need to. Stand up. Walk to another room. Do 10 calf raises at the kitchen counter. 30 seconds of ankle pumps while seated. Any of those is enough. The rhythmic contraction is what matters. not the intensity or duration. This is your maintenance phase. It requires no equipment, no gym, no special time set aside. Just awareness and a small interruption to whatever you're already doing. The core of the protocol happens in the evening, 30 to 45 minutes before you go to sleep. Lie on your back. Stack pillows under your calves and ankles until your feet are clearly above the level of your heart. You should feel a gentle shift in pressure in the legs almost immediately. With your legs elevated and gravity now assisting drainage rather than opposing it, begin the breathing sequence. 4 counts in through the nose, belly rising, 2 counts hold, 6 counts out through the mouth. 10 repetitions. Slow, full, deliberate. This activates the thoracic drainage mechanism and begins pulling lymph fluid upward from the lower body. Follow the breathing with 30 ankle pumps, slow, full range of motion, and 15 ankle circles in each direction. Then, using both hands, apply light upward strokes along the lower leg from the ankle toward the knee. This is not a deep tissue massage. It is a gentle, rhythmic, skin-level technique that stimulates the superficial lymphatic vessels, which sit just beneath the skin surface and respond to light touch, not pressure. Deep pressure actually compresses lymph vessels and can obstruct flow. The movement is like lightly brushing the skin upward. 5 passes on the front of the leg, 5 on the back, 5 on each side, always toward the knee, never downward. Total time for the full evening sequence, 6 to 8 minutes. After 1 week of consistent practice, morning activation, movement breaks during the day, and the evening drainage sequence, the majority of people with uncomplicated lymphatic or mild venous-dependent edema begin to notice a real change. Not overnight, not magically, but a gradual, measurable difference in how the legs feel by evening and how quickly they recover overnight. Before I tell you what happened with Margaret, I want you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. I'm putting out content like this consistently, and I want it to keep reaching people who genuinely need it. Margaret came back to see me after 3 weeks of following this protocol consistently, alongside the changes to her sitting habits and hydration. She told me her ankles were visibly different. Not perfect, not overnight, but meaningfully, noticeably less swollen. Her shoes fit again in the early evening, which they hadn't in 2 years. She had stopped reaching for the diuretic as a reflex. She described feeling like she finally understood what was actually happening inside her own body. And that understanding was just as important as any result she saw, because it gave her confidence and agency over something that had felt completely out of her control. And I want to come back to something I mentioned earlier, because I think it's important enough to say twice. For many people watching this, the swelling has been there for a long time, not weeks, months, sometimes years. And when it's been there that long, the tissue environment, the quality of the lymphatic vessels, the level of chronic low-grade inflammation in the surrounding tissue, the integrity of the venous valves has been quietly degrading the entire time. Daily habits are powerful. This protocol is real, but they work best when the internal environment supports them. For the people who have been doing everything right and still struggling, or who know they are dealing with something that has been building for too long, the first link in the description below is there for you. It is a natural method designed to address circulation and lymphatic drainage at the deeper tissue level. I am not here to push you towards something you don't need. But if you've been waiting to take this seriously, please understand. The longer chronic lymphatic congestion is left unaddressed, the more difficult it becomes to reverse. Check the description. The first link. Don't put it off another week. Before I let you go, I want to bring you back to the very beginning of this video. You pressed your finger into the skin above your ankle. You saw a dent, or you didn't. Either way, you now understand something about your own body that most people never learn. The swelling is not a mystery. It is not simply aging, and it is not something you are powerless over. It is a drainage system that has slowed down, predictably, explainably, and for reasons that are directly within your reach to address. The morning activation is 2 minutes lying in bed. The movement breaks require nothing but awareness. The evening sequence is 6 to 8 minutes on your back before sleep. Tonight is a perfectly good night to start. Don't let another week pass watching the swelling build every afternoon and calling it inevitable. It is not inevitable. Subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and drop your age and location in the comments below. I want to know who you are and what you've been dealing with. This community is full of people exactly like you, and what you share might be exactly what someone else needed to hear today. I'll see you in the next video.